Hi, I'm Gigi. Welcome to Venice Beach Yoga. Today we're going to do a 30-minute beginner sequence. Welcome. Let's get to it. Okay, so we'll start for today on our backs. Okay, you can lie with your legs straight out on the floor, your hands by your sides, palms rolling up to the ceiling. If you have any lower back tightness whatsoever, or if it's just more comfortable for your breathing, for your physical body, have your feet hips distance apart on the floor and allow your knees to drop together. Just for now, allow your eyes to close so you can bring your awareness within. You maybe want to set an intention for your practice, maybe an energy you'd like to bring in or create. And then with your lips slightly closed, take a deep inhale through your nose. I'd like you to pause your breath at the top. And then through your nose, long, slow exhale, allow all of your breath to go. Feel yourselves just releasing towards gravity's pull. Good, one more time like that. Full inhale and pause. So these pauses are actually calming for the mind and energizing for the system. Through your nose, long, slow exhale. You will start to move into the yogic breathing, which is called Ujjayi breath. Ujjayi means victorious breath. So this is done in and out through the nose, all of the breath in and out through the nose. Just slight constriction in the base of the throat, almost like you're sipping the breath through a straw or through a reed. And it creates a sound much like listening to the inside of a seashell or like ocean waves. We're just going to take about 3 more breaths here like this, in this position. We're going to continue Ujjayi breath throughout the practice. Okay, on your next inhale, just allow your eyes to blink open, and you can bend your knees, bring your knees in towards your chest. Just give yourselves a little hug. Okay, so knees to chest pose actually is good for your digestion, helps to stretch out your lower backs. And then bring your feet on the floor wider than your hips. Turn your toes towards each other, and I'd like you to take your block and place your block the narrow way in between your thighs. And this is going to help to strengthen not only our inner thighs, but also outer hips. Interlace your hands behind your head, and I'd like you to keep your collarbones wide. Take a deep, long inhale, and then as you're ready, exhale and slowly come all the way up so your shoulder blades are off of the ground. Feel your abdomen draw into your spines. Good. Inhale, lie back. And then exhale, navel to spine, belly in, slowly roll up so your shoulder blades are off the ground. Okay. So you're going to continue like this on your own. So you can say they're yoga sit-ups, and what makes them have a yogic quality is the awareness. So we're linking our breath with the movement. I'd like you to keep your breath cycles really long, and as you inhale back, squeeze the block a little bit so you are strengthening your hips and inner thighs a bit more. When you exhale, let your exhales be nice and long, and really observe that little pause at the bottom of your exhale. It's going to build a little extra heat. We're going to do a few more for today's practice, but of course you could always pause and add in, and as you feel stronger, you can do multiple reps of these. Okay, of course, you're strengthening your rectus abdominis muscles, your abdominal wall. You're also increasing the digestive fire, building some heat. Strengthening third chakra for those of you that like energy. Okay, you want to know about energy. So third chakra is discipline and will, self-esteem, sense of self. Let's do 2 more. Great. And then you can inhale, lie back, and I'd like you to go ahead and bring your legs straight on the floor. So straighten your legs. You can keep the block, but just bring your legs straight on the floor. Really flex your feet. Gently squeeze the block so your inner thighs roll down to the center line of your body. And then you can bring your arms overhead and hook your thumbs apart. Okay, hook your thumbs and pull apart. Great. And from there, inhale, reach your arms overhead. Couple of breaths here. So you can just really do this. Of course, you can do this very passively and it won't do much, or you can do it really actively. So what I'd like you to do, again, keeping your feet really active, you're going to feel your thighs are very strong. Your quads, hamstrings are lifting. You're going to gently, on your exhale, engage your abdominal muscles. Let your bottom ribs draw in. Let your tailbone draw to your heels. Shoulders soften away from your ears. Let's take one more inhale. And exhale, release, bring your knees to your chest, just give yourselves a hug, and you can move the block out of the way. Just move it off to the side. Okay, so next we'll do yoga bicycle. So you can keep your knees bent and bend your knees so that your calves are parallel to the floor. So you have a 90-degree angle between your upper leg and your lower leg. Spread your toes, kind of reach the ball of your toes. Perfect. Interlace your hands behind your head. And for this first one, just inhale and just lie back. Okay, when you're ready, you're going to exhale and roll up so your shoulder blades are off of the ground and pause. Take an inhale. Exhale, twist to your right and extend your left leg straight towards the floor, not allowing it to touch. Hover. Inhale back to center. Knees touch. Shoulder blades off the ground. And exhale, second side. So you'll twist to your left, right leg straight. Great. Inhale, center. Holding yourselves up, hovering. And exhale, twist. Inhale back to center. Spread your toes really well. Exhale, twist to your left, right leg straight. Inhale, center. Side hips firm in like you've got that block still. And exhale, twist to your right, left leg straight. Good, so just a few more. So again, we're going to do just about 15 seconds more or so here. But you can always pause and add more reps as you feel ready. Maybe working up to 3 minutes. So spreading your toes in time is actually going to really help you to strengthen the arches of your feet, which is really a great practice. Okay, in all of our poses, really spreading through your toes, spreading through the soles of your feet. It strengthens your feet, strengthens your spine. Okay, very good for the muscles of your core. Let's do one more round. You'll end twisting to your left. Great. Just knees to chest, give yourselves a hug when you're ready. Okay, so if you're feeling strong, you can rock up to sit. Okay, otherwise you're going to extend your left arm or right arm overhead, roll over onto your side, and just go ahead and press up so you're on hands and knees. So we'll make our way to hands and knees. Okay, so just a basic table position. I'd like you to make sure that your hands are shoulder width apart. Spread your fingers really well, and check it out, this is important. You want to have either your index fingers or your middle fingers facing forward. If you have tighter shoulders, you can turn your hands away from each other slightly. So actually, Casey, I'm going to have you turn your hands out slightly, just a tiny bit. Yeah, and this variation, again, good for tight shoulders, good for very muscular triceps. And when you're ready, you're going to inhale and just draw your chest forward through the gates of your arms, gaze forward for cat-cow. Exhale, pull your abdominal muscles in, round your upper back like an upside-down bolt, and let your head drop. Good. Again, inhale, chest, heart forward. And exhale, navel to spine, and round. We'll just do a few more like this. So linking the breath with movement, inhaling forward. Exhale, drawing in. You'll feel your tailbone go towards the backs of your knees. One more round. Beautiful. So on your next inhale, come to a flat back. So for a flat back, you're going to be in neutral in the shoulders. Your head's going to be in line with your spine. Okay, your shoulder blades are going to draw in and down, but your navel, your belly, is also going to be drawing in. Okay, you're going to inhale. Bring your knees a little closer together, actually. Inhale, lift your right leg from your inner thigh and just pause. So right leg is going to go straight back. I'd like you to flex your foot. Reach through your inner thigh a little bit more than your outer thigh and firm the sides of your hips in like you've got that block in between your thighs. You could stay right here, really working the muscles of your core, bottom ribs in, navel to spine, or like Lauren's going to do, she's going to reach her left arm forward and she's going to balance here. Okay, couple of breaths. So I'm going to encourage you all to find a gaze towards the front of your mat. So you want to be right and neutral with your spine. Not lifting your head too much, but not dropping your head too much. I'm going to give you a little adjustment here. Again, especially if you're bendy in your lower back, you're going to really exhale and pull your bottom ribs in. There you go. Flexibility is great, but we also strive towards stability. Let's take one more inhale. Good. Exhale and release. Good. And let's take a child's pose. Toes together, knees apart. Just take a break. Again, any of these things I'm offering, you can do them longer, right? So if you're feeling strong, you can always work up to longer holds. You can also take a child's pose anytime during the practice if you feel like you need a break. It's a really great resting pose, calming, cooling. Give your upper body a rest. Lovely. When you're ready, inhale and come back up to hands and knees. Have your hands shoulder width apart. Just make sure the creases of your wrists face towards the front of your mat. And you're going to inhale, lift your left leg from your inner thigh. Flex your foot. Spread through the soles of your feet. Side hips draw in. Okay. And for a couple of you, maybe even feel your right hip draw back in space. Good. So you can stay right here, head in line with your spine. Okay, some of you are going to reach your right arm forward. So even though this is basic, this is not easy, particularly. So if you're doing it, you might have already noticed that. You are really building the muscles of your hamstrings. You're building your glutes. You're strengthening the muscles along your spine, the multifidus muscles. Transverse abdominis muscles, which help us to hover. And again, I'm going to encourage Casey, look forward a little bit more. Good. One more inhale. And exhale, please release. Beautiful. And again, we'll take a child's pose. Toes together, knees apart. Take a break. And stay with your ujjayi breath as best you can through the entire practice. And even if you were just to stay in child's pose and practice the breath, you'd still be building a lot of heat, building a lot of core strength, and deeply detoxifying your physical and also your energetic body. Good. Okay, so next inhale, come back up, and we're going to make our way onto our forearms for forearm plank. For this variation, we'll actually interlace hands. Okay, so you'll interlace your hands on the floor, stack your wrists. Make sure your shoulders are directly over your elbows. Bring your chest, your heart forward, and then walk one leg back and then the other so you're in a forearm plank. Okay, perfect. All right, so gaze towards your knuckles. Now, anytime you need to come out of this and take a child's pose, you will, but otherwise, gaze right towards your knuckles so your head's in line with your spine. Use your legs. Press your thigh bones to the ceiling quite a bit and draw your tailbone, your bum to your heels. Broaden your collarbone, soften your face, your jaw. Okay, and if it feels hard, one of the things I like to do, if something feels challenging to me, I always like to just sort of flip it and feel grateful for whatever it is that I have the strength or the capability to be able to do. So if something's feeling challenging, maybe just practicing gratitude. This is also a practice in yoga. Casey, look forward a little bit more. There you go. Good. Take one more inhale, please. And now you're going to walk your feet in towards your elbows and lift your hips up to the ceiling. I'd like you to bend your knees and stay on your tippy toes for a moment. And here you can let your head relax. Gently press your shoulder blades into your chest. It's like there's a friendly hand encouraging your shoulder blades to draw in and draw your navel, your belly in. Take one more inhale. And then again, we'll take a child's pose. Come on down, toes together, knees apart. Stretch your arms out. Okay. Next inhale, come back up to your hands and your knees. Check out that your hands are shoulder width apart. Spread your fingers really well. You can turn your hands out slightly if your shoulders are tight. I'd like you to curl your toes under and exhale, press back into downward facing dog. Okay, and just for a moment, everybody, even if you're flexible, I'd like you to be on your tippy toes and bend your knees. Beautiful. And on your inhale, you're going to draw a nice long line of energy from your outer wrists all the way to your outer hips. Feel, if you have tight hamstrings especially, that you're moving your hips to the ceiling. If you're very flexible, I want you to imagine that you're moving your hips back towards the back of the room a little bit more. Lift your hamstrings away from your knees. Lift your quads away from your knees so you're starting to firm your thighs. And then keep your spines long. You're going to lengthen your calf muscles towards your heels. And we'll just take a few breaths here. Well, maybe your heels will touch, maybe they won't. Very good. Now remember, you can take a child's pose at any point if you need to. So I'd like you to go ahead now, inhale, lift your right leg from your inner thigh and spread your toes. Okay, so just lifting straight up. And then exhale, really slowly bring your right foot right inside of your right hand. So I'm going to give Casey blocks here. I want you to check for a second. You'll stand your fingertips, or in Casey's going to show us having hands on blocks, because a lot of us will need to have our hands on blocks right underneath shoulders. Okay. I'm going to first set it up so that you can really use this as, again, core strengthening practice. I want you to press the thigh bone of your back leg to the ceiling a lot. Really firm your thigh. Pull your right hip back in space. Beautiful. And then head in line with your spine. Okay, so shoulder blades gently draw into your chest and away from your ears. So you can stay right here. Like, Casey's going to stay right here with his hands on blocks. If you want to make it a little harder, Lauren's going to show us you can bring your hands to your hips and hover. Okay, and if you're feeling like, well, that's going well, I'm just going to encourage you to do this. The next level is to bring arms next to ears, but this is challenging, so if that's not working today, stay with the other variations. Okay. Drishti towards the front of your mat. Just 3 more breaths. So again, this is like, it's very basic, but if you're doing it properly, you're working pretty much every muscle in your body. One more inhale. Good. And then I'd like you to exhale and just release your hands down under your shoulders. You can move the blocks out of the way. Inhale, step your right foot back slowly so you're in plank pose. Exhale back to downward facing dog. Reach your hips up and back. Okay, we'll take a lion draw. Take a deep inhale, stick out your tongue, open your eyes wide. Yeah, it's kind of nice to do sometimes, but it's actually good for your digestion as well. Inhale, lift your left leg from your inner thighs, spread your toes. And then exhale, really slowly with control. I'd like you to bring your left foot to the inside of your left hand. And again, you can have your hands on blocks. Okay, my beginners or tight hip flexors, it can be really helpful. Nice fingertips on the floor. Take a moment, first bring awareness to your back leg. Really power the back leg, press your thigh bone to the ceiling, firm your thigh. Pull your left sitting bone towards the back of the room. Good, and head is right in line with your spine. So you keep your drishti, your gaze towards the front of your mat. Okay, you can stay right here if it's enough, otherwise hands to hips. And if you're here, really broaden across your collarbones. Next level, which is going to work your core muscles of your back even more. Bring your arms next to your ears. Let your triceps wrap down, your biceps up. Breathe. I think you have a long neck. Yeah. One more inhale. Exhale, hands down under your shoulders. Okay, think of reaching with your inner thigh. You're going to step back to plank on your next inhale. Beautiful. And then exhale back to downward facing dog. Reach with your inner legs. Good. Now here you can substitute child's pose, which we've practiced a few times already, instead of down dog. They're using down dog as a resting point, but you can always take a child's pose. Now you're going to inhale and shift forward into plank. You're going to come way forward so that your shoulders are right directly over your wrists. And again, your gaze is going to be forward. And I want you to shift forward a little bit more like you're looking over a ledge, and you want to see what's on the other side. You may be on the tips of your toes. Okay, now Casey's going to lower his knees. You can do it with straight legs as well. I want you to keep your collarbones wide and exhale, hug your elbows in, lower halfway down, chaturanga. Good, and come all the way down. Good, she did an extra push-up. You could do that too. All right, so bring the tops of your feet onto the ground. Please spread your toes and draw your outer ankles in. Okay, and I'd like you just to bring your wrists directly underneath your elbows. Okay, so you can keep, if you're newer with this, keep your hands on the floor. Casey's going to keep his hands on the floor. Lauren's actually going to lift her hands just a tiny bit off the floor. That's it. And this is not easy, but it's working your back muscles. Press through the tops of your feet. Pin your tailbone in. Inhale, lift your chest. Good. Lauren's going to keep her hands lifted. They're both going to exhale and release back down to the ground with chest. Good. Again, like that. Inhale, lift your chest. So lifting from navel to sternum, widen your collarbones. Good. Exhale, release. Let's do that a few more times. Inhale, lifting your chest. Again, Lauren's lifting her hands as well to bring it a level up. Exhale down. 2 more on your own. So just following the breath, letting the breath really guide the movement. One more. Beautiful. And go ahead and release. Good. Now curl your toes under. I'd like you to keep your knees on the ground, but kind of move your bum up towards the ceiling, like an inchworm. So kind of like bum up to the ceiling. Keep your elbows in. On your next exhale, press up to a table position. Use your abdominal muscles, so you're back up to your hands and your knees. And then back to downward facing dog. Good. Take a deep inhale. And a really deep exhale. Beautiful. So if you have tight hamstrings, you're going to make your feet a little bit wider than your hips. Walk your hands back to meet your feet. Bend your knees a little bit to start. Clasp your elbows and just let your head hang for a few cycles of breath. Just let your head hang, releasing any tension from your neck, your shoulders. You can maybe move side to side a little bit or alternate bending one knee and then the other. So kind of thought in yoga, and again, one of the reasons yoga is such a balanced practice is that when we heat our agni, or our digestive fire, it's actually really good to then return the energy back to the crown of the head. So in that way we burn off toxins, but we're also preserving our essential life force. I think they call it, I think like the essential nectar in yoga. My brother says, he's a surgeon, he says it's cerebral spinal fluid. So who knows? But in any event, really good kind of anti-aging, restorative properties, calming properties, cooling properties to be in our forward bends with our heads down. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and bring your hands on your shins, Casey, and then Lauren, just fingertips next to your toes. You'll inhale, draw your chest forward, so you're in Ardha Uttanasana. Good. Exhale, soften your abdomen, let your heads drop, Uttanasana. So you want to move mostly in your back here. Inhale, firm your thighs, bring your chest forward, Ardha Uttanasana. Good. Exhale, soften your abdomen and fold. Just one more like that. Inhale, halfway up. This is strengthening again the muscles along the spine. Exhale and fold. Next inhale, come halfway up. And exhale, make your way back out to downward facing dog, please. Good. And downward dog has many properties. Again, it's a forward bend, so it's restorative, but it's also very strengthening for the arms, for the legs. Stretches the entire back. Okay, so I'm going to have you both come to your knees again. We're going to do one more form plank. So this one we'll do actually, form plank's so fun, right? Just depends what you define as fun. All right, so I always say fun is what you make of it. Okay, whatever you do is fun. Bring your hands a little wider than, or actually, yeah, you want to have your hands, let's do this one shoulder width apart. Elbows, wrists, forearms, shoulder width apart. Have your shoulders directly over your elbows. And then I'd like you to walk one leg back and then the other, gaze forward. Okay, so for some of you, this is enough. And you'll probably do like 4 breaths and then you'll do a little collapse asana, and that's fine. Okay, if you need to come down and take a break, you will, but otherwise tailbone draws in. Okay, you can stay with this variation, press through your thumb and index finger a lot, or inhale, lift your right leg just a little bit from your inner thigh. This makes it a little bit more challenging. Spread your toes. Good. Exhale, release. Inhale, lift your left leg from your inner thigh, spread your toes. Heart forward, gaze forward. Exhale, release. Take a deep inhale. And I'd like you to exhale now, walk your feet towards your elbows again. You can stay on your toes. Bend your knees a little bit. Inhale, lift your hips up to the ceiling. Let your inner thighs roll back. So this is such a great pose for strengthening your shoulders. Okay, strengthen the muscles of the rotator cuff. And again, you want to imagine there's a friendly hand right in between your shoulder blades and you're gently pressing into that hand. At the same time, drawing your bottom ribs, your belly in. Good. One more deep inhale. And then exhale, come to a child's pose, toes together, knees apart. Take a break, do whatever's restful for your arms. Good. And then just go ahead and make your way to sitting back onto your heels. And kind of walk yourselves up. Sit over to one side, swing your legs around. You're going to make your way back onto your backs just for a really brief shavasana. So it's always good, even if it's just a minute to yourselves to really rest. Ideally, you'd have at least 5 minutes. Okay, but even a minute is good. Just lie out straight, hands by your sides, palms rolling up. Of course, if your lower back feels tender, feel free to bring your feet on the floor and let your knees drop together. And take a deep, full inhale. Pause your breath at the top. And deep, long exhale through your nose. Let all of your breath go. And at this point, you just allow yourselves to completely surrender to gravity's pull. You let go of any special breathing, any special intention, any physical effort. When you're ready to start to move out of your shavasana, it's nice first just to start to wiggle your fingers and your toes a bit. Take another deep inhale, pause your breath at the top. And through your nose, long, slow exhale. Good, and then bring your knees to your chest. Extend your right arm overhead. I'd like you to roll onto your right side. And you'll use your left hand to press all the way up to a comfortable seated position. And you can sit cross-legged. And you bring your palms together at your heart, Anjali Mudra. So this Anjali means offering, maybe taking a moment in gratitude for whatever comes to mind, whatever's in your heart. And blinking your eyes open. Namaste. Namaste. Thank you for joining us for Venice Beach Yoga. Namaste means the divinity and light in me acknowledges and sees the light and divinity within you. Have a beautiful day.